What up, party people? Episode 60. You know what they're saying in the streets, Brooksy, is that ever since you said you would take Rafi Devers over Aaron Judge for the next 5 years. I mean, Judge was already like going off, hitting taters left and right, but he seemed to find a new level ever since he unfollowed you on Twitter.
I know.
What do you say about that?
I don't know. A lot of people, there were people saying that was, I said that preseason. I said that like July 7th, right? It was like mid-season. Yeah, it wasn't like I took a shot at Judge. I was just having my boys back. Just having Rafi Devers back. Whatever it is, I'm glad he's doing it. Let me just tell you, it ain't because of me, but it ain't. I wish I could take credit there for someone that's gonna, break the AL home run single season record, but it ain't me. He's just that good.
You know what I'm going to say now is, do you want to recircle that question and change your answer? Or are you sticking with Rafi for the next 5 years?
Well, I can't just change my answer based off the results of this season.
Okay. Fair enough.
And let me just say this way: there was no right and wrong answer there. They're both really good players. I think that's the logical answer. But for the fun of it, I had to pick one, so I took my Sox guy.
Age is a major factor too. I mean, like
right. That was my main point.
Yeah.
That and then Judge has a history of being hurt.
Yeah.
Which there's no way around that. Like history is history, right? Like whatever. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing though. I hope he wins a triple crown, honestly.
60 taters right now. He's one away from tying Roger Maris. Pretty ridiculous and kind
of. You can see my TV. You can see my TV right here in the reflection of the Yankees jerseys, actually, because I have MLB Network on because they're gonna go to every Judge at bat. I don't want to miss 61.
It seems like Red Sox fans are like already starting the recruiting for Judge, at least on the social media streets.
He ain't coming to Boston. He's not leaving New York. He's not leaving New York.
If somebody gives him more money, he might.
Nah, he ain't leaving. You're the New York Yankees. You are the New York Yankees. You look under Cashman. It's not Cashman. You gotta look at the ownership group there. Steinbrenners. Go look under your couch cushions at all 17 of your mansions. Look under the seats of your helicopters and your private jets. And whatever coins you can come up with, just start saving it now because it needs to go in Aaron Judge's pocket. After you give him that blank check and he signs whatever he wants.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get so much.
Well, they were offering him basically like 30 a year. It's going to be closer to 40 a year now.
Be 40 a year. I think he get 6 to 7 year deal and it's approaching $300 million.
I say six. Give him a 6 year, 300. Be the first 50 a year player.
Here's what's going to happen. 5-6 years down the road, he's likely, history tells us, he's going to decline at some point. And people are going to look at that contract similar to what we look at Miguel Cabrera's, and we're going to say, God, what a terrible contract that is. The Yankees are just handcuffed with this Judge contract. But what you're doing is you're overpaying for the first 2, 3, 4 years of when he's 31, 32, 33 years old. And then you're biting the bullet of his back end there. And that's just the reality of what it is.
But when you are biting the bullet of the back end when he's 35, 36 years old, he's still going to be a damn good DH. Mm-hmm. He's not going to have 15 to 20 steals like he's going to have the next few years. No, you don't need that. You need him to hit 30 pumps. That's it. 30 and 90, and you'll be fine.
If you think about it, it depends on how they disperse it. But if you think about it, instead of doing it like per year, like they always do average annual value, instead of thinking of it like that, think of it more like, okay, again, in this hypothetical, if you're getting $300 million, think of it like he's getting $50 million each of the first 4 years. And in the last 4, he's only getting 20. You know what I mean? Like add more to those first 4 or that first half of the contract, and it allows you to kind of justify the back half. Anyways, we'll talk a lot more about Judge, a lot more about Pujols. 9 days away from October. My wife has all her flannels out. The boots are on. It's fall, apparently, in her mind. It's fall as of Thursday, September 22nd. So that must mean October baseball is on the horizon.
Close.
That means it's time to pick our playoff X factors. Who are going to be the difference makers as the playoffs inch closer? And really, I mean, the playoffs aren't set yet. This year is a bit unique because we have an expanded postseason, and so you're seeing a lot of teams out of it already. And really, other than the National League wild card between Phillies, Padres, and Brewers, there's not a whole lot happening, especially with the American League Central seemingly being put together at this point after the White Sox lost Game 1 against Cleveland on Tuesday night. That basically solidified a division, because if the White Sox wanted
5 games,
chance,
right? What is it?
It's now 5 games.
It is 5 games.
They don't play each other anymore after this 3-game set. Now there's 2 games left. Now you could say if Chicago is able to salvage these next 2 games, then they would be 3 games back with 10, 15 games remaining. They got a shot, but it's an uphill climb for sure.
Facts. Yeah, no. Cleveland, I told you, Cleveland was my pick to win that. It's the worst division in baseball this year, talent-wise, but it's the best race. I guess there's that. It's been fun to watch, regardless of their records right now. It's teams fighting for a playoff spot, because you're not going to have 2 teams from that division go. There's no wild card team there, so you got to lay it all on the table right now. And just, if you're the White Sox, this is your World Series right now. Cleveland too.
Astros are in, Dodgers are in, Mets are in, Braves are in at this point when we're recording this podcast on Wednesday evening. Before we get to our playoff X factors, I want to talk a little bit more about Aaron Judge. He's 1 away from Maris. Everybody wants to know, does Shohei Ohtani have a chance at the American League MVP?
Of course he has a chance.
I've been standing on a pedestal saying yes. What say you?
Of course he has a chance. But if Judge wins a Triple Crown, I feel like that's kind of like puts him over the top,
In your mind, it puts him over the top, or just factually puts him over? Because the reason I ask is I hate when we say he won a Triple Crown, he gets the MVP, because Triple Crown, it's just a title. That's all I know,
but this will be it's more than a title, Danny.
It's amazing. It's
okay. Time out. No. I gotta back you up on that. I gotta rewind there and have you backpedal a little bit, because that's a bullshit statement. Just a title. You just lead in home runs, RBIs, and average in the fucking major leagues. That ain't just a title, dude. Then why? Oh, so as a batting title, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Okay, but he does that and lead in home. Power hitters aren't supposed to hit for average too. There's a reason only so many guys have done this. This is rare. He'd be the first guy with 60 home runs to ever do it. That's for damn sure. What he's doing right now, and I know Ohtani and what he's doing, and I respect it. I don't want us to become numb to it, which I feel like I am a little bit, just because I just have accepted that's just who he is. He's a special. He's an alien of the game. That shouldn't take away from his MVP case, because he's having an even better season than he did when, you know what I mean? So, but what Aaron Judge is doing right now, man, it's just like, how do you not give it to him? If this was the first time seeing Shohei Ohtani, I feel like people would be more likely to give it to Ohtani over Judge. But like I said, you're desensitized to it. Is that a word? Did I say that correctly?
Nah, I knew what you meant.
You know what I mean?
This isn't a high educated podcast here.
No, I didn't go to college, but I read that once. You get what I'm saying? I'm still giving it to Judge. I'm sorry. And I'm giving it to him even if he doesn't win the Triple Crown. And I know we see that differently. But don't you ever say Triple Crown is just a fucking title ever again.
I don't want to say,
and I love you. I love you, but don't say that. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. I don't want to say it's just a title. I'm saying I hate romanticizing titles in general, any title, because what Shohei is doing has no title. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we don't have it.
It's foreign to this game outside of Babe Ruth. And he's doing way better than Babe Ruth did it.
Exactly. It's when we compare players, Aaron Judge. And by the way, I'm not sitting here saying Shohei Ohtani is the MVP. I've been sitting up here saying, in my opinion, it's like I can't decide between the two.
Your Twitter says differently, Danny.
I say co-MVP. If you listen to the Wake and Rake podcast.
That is the most. Listen,
I know.
No,
I know. Soft. I know.
That's almost worse than saying Triple Crown is just a title.
That's fine. That's fine.
Jeez.
But what I'm saying is that we can't give it a title because what he's doing has never been done before. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen people win the Triple Crown, so now we have a title attached to what Aaron Judge did.
Have you? You've seen one in your life.
Miguel
You've seen one in your life.
I'm not saying
No. How many years has Major League Baseball been around? Do you know? Just a guess.
150.
Cool. How many Triple Crown winners do you think there's been?
3, 4.
No, 150 years? 14.
Huh.
But that's still like, think about that.
Surprised it's that high, to be honest.
Oh, you're proving my point.
Yeah, I'm not downplaying it. I'm saying let's not
downplaying it. It's
okay,
just
wait.
a title.
Let's get back on track.
Oh, okay, sorry. You got.
Here's what I mean by this. Okay, so when we compare those two players, we have to involve Ohtani stats. We have to look at pitching stats because I kind of went after John Heyman, great reporter, one of the best in the business.
East Coast bias,
friend of the pod though. He put out a screen grab of judges' rankings, and it was first in everything, and it was all offensive categories. And he said, guaranteed MVP, this is why. And I kind of went at him and I said, this doesn't tell the whole story. If you think Judge is the MVP, that's totally fine. But when we compare these two players, you can't only look at offensive stats. You have to look at pitching, because when you completely leave out pitching stats, it's
almost not comparable though, right?
It is, but and here's the thing: it's like Shohei has broken the system in so many ways that when MLB Network puts up a graphic, they compare their offensive categories side by side, and then down below it says in like small writing, "Oh, also he's 11 and 8 with a 2.43 ERA."
Yeah, but everyone knows. It's not like they're hiding it.
It just, people use that as fuel to their fire when they see.
That's the only thing you can compare them in. You can't put up Judge's pitching stats.
You can't. I just want that part of the conversation because
listen, if the MVP goes to Ohtani, which I don't think it will, just because of what's going on and the records that are going to be broken and what he's doing, basically carrying a team for 2 months that was just drowning, a team that is one of the better teams in baseball. It's just, even if Ohtani was to win it, I would go, all right, they're both deserving. I will agree with that. I don't want to co-MVP, but they're both deserving. Well, Ohtani has, whoever doesn't win the MVP is just like, this was the best season that never was. Like, or the MVP that never was. Right. There's going to be a book written about whoever doesn't win it. You know, it's just that it's good to have this problem because we can have these conversations and we're talking about baseball and there's people talking about this everywhere right now. And I'm all for that.
Yeah. I mean, how often do we see, not to call out individual companies, but FS1 with, Cowherd and ESPN with First Take, they're talking about this MVP. They're talking about Judge.
They normally don't talk about baseball unless something bad happens.
They never.
Right. Let's get into some X factors.
Can I leave you with one stat and then we can move on?
Yes, please.
Corbin Burns in 2021 won the Cy Young. You probably saw this, but I want
it's so good though.
I want our audience to hear it. So Corbin Burns, he won the Cy Young in 2021. He had a 2.43 ERA and 167 innings pitched, a 5.6 WAR. Shohei Ohtani this season, same exact ERA, 2.43 ERA. He has, at this point, he has 19 fewer innings pitched that could accumulate. He has a 5.3 WAR compared to Burns' 5.6. Also, strikeout per 9, Burns was 12.6, Ohtani 11.9. So Ohtani essentially has damn near the same season as Corbin Burns as last year. He won the Cy Young. Continuing on, Bryce Harper last year won the National League MVP with 35 homers, 84 ribbies, 78 extra base hits. Shohei Ohtani this year has 34 homers, 89 ribbies, 66 extra base hits. So he has, this should be noted too, Harper had a much higher wins above replacement offensively last season. He had a much higher OPS on base percentage. There's a number of different offensive categories. But homers, RBI, extra base hits, those are three pretty important statistics. Ohtani is damn near even with Harper, and he won the MVP last year. It's incredible. I'm not saying Ohtani. It's
unbelievable.
The difference is that last year there wasn't a guy that hit 60 home runs in the same league.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, which is why Judge, that's what it takes to beat.
So
Ohtani.
If Ohtani didn't have the year he had last year, Vladdy was a unanimous MVP.
And that's part of the problem too, is like Ohtani set the bar so high that anything less than last year, less, he hit 45 taters last year.
Part of the argument too is like, maybe it should be not most valuable, but maybe it should just be the best player.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot.
Because Ohtani's the best player. He does everything. Like, he's the best player. He hits 30, 40 homers and he goes out and has a 2-something ERA. That's the best player in the game. But valuable, like, you take Ohtani away from the Angels, they still suck ass, right? You take Judge away, they're not even sniffing the playoffs.
Here's my only issue with that argument is it shouldn't be what the standings are. It's how many fewer wins does each team have without said player. That's all that should matter, because everything else.
No, I get it. It's like saying Mike Trout shouldn't have won any MVP. So
right.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get into playoff X factors, which is something.
Wait. You got to add something. I'm going to add something. This is quick. I just actually kind of thought of it. You know how everyone says, "Oh, well, Shohei saves you a roster spot. He's 2 players." Mm-hmm. Cool. Aaron Judge can be that too. 230.
Saw that.
230 home run players, man. There you go, right there. Boom. And what? It's gonna be like 70 RBIs a piece.
Jim Passon, I think, tweeted out.
He did.
He's a great follow, by the way.
Oh my God, he's so good. I saw that. I got a good laugh out of that. All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
Something that Shohei doesn't have to worry about is playoffs, because the Angels already have been eliminated from playoff contention for the 8th straight season. But one team that does have to worry about the playoffs, because they're about to clinch a playoff position, is the New York Yankees. Who is your playoff X factor?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go pitching. This could very easily be Harrison Bader, but I'm not. I'm going to go pitching. Because Frankie Montas went on the IL yesterday with the shoulder inflammation, got a cortisone shot. He shut down for 10 days, which is probably a good thing because he sucks as a Yankee. He's got like a 6.35 ERA through 8 starts as a Yankee. It's not good. It's probably because he's had this shit going on with his shoulder for a while and has been trying to pitch through it. New team. He's trying to like solidify himself there. Doesn't want to be soft, but he's been getting crushed. So that being said, Luis Severino, who came off the IL tonight, pitching against the Pirates tonight. He's been on since July. He had a lat strain. Luis Severino is going to be their number 3 starter, and I think in the playoffs. Even though they have Jameson Taillon, they have Domingo Germán, who's now starting in place of Montas. Luis Severino, he missed time, but I feel like I like his stuff, right? I like his stuff. I don't know how much deeper I can go into this. I like his stuff, and I think he's a bigger, more of a big game pitcher than Jameson Taillon or Domingo Germán. Right? Their offense is clicking now, so I don't feel like they're gonna have to go out and be like, we got to have 7 shutout innings to win this game. Like, go out and give us 6. If you give up 2 or 3, we're probably gonna score 6. Like, their offense is going again. I feel like the offense in New York is really feeding off the whole Judge thing. And they're going, so they're playing good ball again. I think they're getting Chapman back. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Did they get him back, or they're about to get him back?
They're getting him back.
They're getting him back. Yeah, Severino. Who you got for your Yankees X factor?
Severino, 5 innings, 1 earned, 6 punchies against the Pittsburgh Pirates in his comeback. I have Giancarlo Stanton, very timely,
like that.
After his walk-off granny. The Yankees are 21.
He was like 8 for 65 coming into that at bat. Like
he's been 205 on the season.
He's been swinging and missing at pitches by like 3 feet, and then boom, he just like runs into a homer and he gets hot again. Good timing.
21-5 the Yankees are when he hits a home run. That's an 807 win percentage. The Yankees are 68-46 when he does not hit a homer. Still good, a 596 win percentage. But when Giancarlo provides the protection behind Judge, that lineup lengthens. That's a lineup to be feared when Giancarlo is actually hitting the ball. And a lot of people don't remember that 2020 year, Giancarlo mashed in the playoffs. 2021 in the
crushes in the playoffs.
Giancarlo crushed in the playoffs again. So the past 2 seasons, Giancarlo has been an absolute animal in the playoffs.
And if he's on, then Judge is all of a sudden getting a lot more to hit. Facts.
American League West, call. Houston Astros.
You probably think I'm going to go pitching here, don't you?
I went pitching.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros can pitch. We know that, right? I'm going to go Yordan Alvarez.
Before you, I should have done this. I should have began this segment with more of like we should define what is your X factor? Like, what's your definition of X factor?
I mean, it could be a superstar. It could be someone hiding in the weeds in the shadows. X factor is someone who I think just needs to come up big for the team.
Difference makers.
Needs to. Like Yeah, because some people look at X Factor and they think, oh, it's someone we don't expect, and they're gonna come out of nowhere and be a David Freese or whatever, But not for me. It's just like who I think each team needs to do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll tell you that. Like I need Yordan Alvarez to continue to show the world that he's elite because we don't talk about him enough. We don't talk about him. We never talk about this guy, and he's 25 years old. He has a good chance to end the season at like 300 with 40 and 100. Like he has 37, 38 homers right now. The guy rakes. During the postseason last year, he played 16 games, a couple homers. He had 315, a couple big knocks. He just seems like like a slow heartbeat guy. Like he's never too up, never too down. Just kind of the same dude all the time. The Astros, like I said, they're going to pitch. They don't get on. They don't. They're like batting average wise, they're like middle of the pack, like 14th in baseball. But they get on base and they slug. And kind of like the Yankees, when they hit home runs, they win. All right. Jordan hits third. So Altuve and Pena, who started to swing the bat well lately, they're going to be on base. There's going to be guys on base for Jordan, and he's going to come up in these situations and have to get a big knock. So that's my guy for their lineup. He's their power bat. Like I said, when they homer, they win.
Went with Lance McCullers coming off of his injury.
Like that.
The Astros rotation is interesting because when Verlander is involved, I think the rotation is to be feared. Like that's a good rotation. When he was out for those couple weeks with that calf strain, I think it was very mediocre in my opinion. No big
Framber's nasty.
Framber's fantastic, but just the fear factor. I don't think there's anyone other than Framber, the name.
I'll tell you this: as like a hitter in the big leagues, you come up and you're facing a Max Scherzer, a Verlander, somebody that has been around for a while, and it's a name. You're already like not beat, but like in your head, you're like, this guy's nasty. Like Framber, I'm like, oh, like he might be just as nasty, and his numbers might be just as good, but I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. You know what I mean? He's not a household name. Like I don't know him.
Who did you fear the most?
You have more confidence, huh?
Who did you fear the most when you were playing?
I hated facing Scherzer, man.
Yeah.
I hated it. I mean, most people did. I'm not really on an island by myself with that. I was like 3 for 31 off him or something. But yeah, I had a game winning knock in the 8th off on the bottom of the 8th at Fenway though. Like 2-run single or RBI single, something. I don't know.
Of all the pitchers in the league, Max Scherzer is who you feared the most, other than I keep drawing a blank on his name. Philly's right-hander with the changeup.
Oh, Hellickson. I didn't fear him. It was funny.
He just had your number.
He just had my number. He had the changeup. Like I just couldn't pick it up. I didn't fear it. I more like took it as a challenge. Like I can't. I have to get a hit at some point off this guy. Like
when you were going up to face Scherzer, in your head, you're like, holy shit.
I honestly, when I used to tell guys, I felt like when I was facing Scherzer, like it was really hard to pick up his slider. So like his fastball would come out, and it's just like I always said I felt like he had like a remote control in his glove, right? And he would throw a pitch. This is obviously very impossible, but he would throw a pitch, and it's like if I wasn't going to swing, it just stayed a fastball. And like if I started to swing, he would hit a button and it would break. Like just like it's like he could read my mind, right? It's like whatever I saw or expected, it was the opposite every fucking time. And like I would literally get to the point where I'd be like, all right, dead set. Like this is a slider count. He's throwing me slider. All right, I'm gonna sit fastball because it's like I know it's gonna be opposite, and boom, slider. And I'm like, son of a bitch! Like I can't get this guy. Like, and he wasn't. That was back before he was even throwing changeups much. He would throw it every once in a while to a lefty. He didn't throw it to righties because he still had 98, 99, 97, and 99 in his pocket, and I just couldn't touch him. I could not touch him. Every once in a while, he'd leave me something over the plate, and I would guess right. But 90% of the time, I could never, and I wasn't a guess hitter. I was not. I was a see the ball. Maybe I should have started guessing. I'm still can't even talk about it without being just like confused. He's so good. I don't even know if I explained that in like a way that you can understand how I felt, but you can tell how like bothered I am right now. This is how I felt having to face him. Bothered.
Most athletes say they don't fear anyone. when you're going up to the plate to face Max,
it's not fear.
Was there a voice in your head? There's probably half of your brain saying, okay, I got this one. But was there another half of your brain saying, like, shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fear. It's not like you're going up against like a fucking great white shark. Like, it's a human being. He has weird eyes, but like, whatever.
He's in your head.
It's not like he's in my head. It was just like, you know how Nats, and like, it might be the 6th inning and he's given up 1 hit and he has like 10 strikeouts already. And you're like, fuck, he's got his good shit tonight. Like, probably don't have a chance here. but as a professional athlete, as a competitor, my mind would still kick past that and be like, fuck that. I'm getting them tonight. Like, I'm getting them. I just never did. A couple times. That was it.
Back to the Astros. I went with McCullers mainly because I look at Luis Garcia, Christian Javier, and Jose Urquidy. I have a nice stat for you. Those 3 guys combined is your complimentary starters in Houston. Those 3 guys have 11 starts of 7 or more innings pitched. So 11 starts, 7 or more innings. They have a 6-5 record. The team does in those 11 starts. So you need guys like Framber and Verlander to pitch deep in the ball games. And you need a 3rd starter to be able to eat up some innings in a longer series. Not necessarily in a best of 5, but if you advance ALCS World Series, you need a guy that can go 6-7 innings and have a chance to win a game. Lance McCullers, in my opinion, is that 3rd guy for Houston. How about Toronto?
Hold on, I'm thinking about something before we move on from the Astros just real quick. I read something. This is like going through my head. I read something that like every pitcher that has pitched for the Astros has under ERA except for 2 guys this year. And it was 2 guys that had thrown like 1 through like 2 innings and 1 through like 6 innings. They were like AAA call-ups. Every pitcher had under a 4 ERA. I believe that too, that it was Houston.
The highest ERA. This is qualified according to Baseball Reference. The only guy with higher than a 4 is there's nobody higher than a 4. The highest ERA is Jose Urquidy at a 3.96 ERA.
So it's every pitcher that has pitched for them this year was below a 4. There were 2, except for 2, but they were like AAA call-ups.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, Ronel Blanco and Pedro Baez. Those are the only guys with higher than a 4. That's ridiculous. That's 20 different pitchers. That's a good stat. 20 out of 22 pitchers have a 4 or fewer. That's nuts. It's a good stat.
Who do you got for Toronto? I didn't have Toronto or like
Tampa. I have a really good stat for you. Jose Barrios struggled most of this year. However, he has pitched 6 or more innings 16 times this year. He is 9-0 as an individual when he pitches 6 or more innings. The team is 15-1 when he pitches 6 or more innings. The team is 7-6 when he does not. So the team is 15-1.
So if he's 2 outs in the 6th inning, and so only if he comes out for the 7th is what you're saying.
Yep. Or if he's done after 6.
Got you. That's crazy. Wow.
That 15-1. They've won 15 out of 16 games. If he pitches 6 innings, the team wins.
I feel like he has a lot of games that he throws 3 or 4 innings and gets shellacked though.
Correct.
Right. So it's like it's always like if you catch him on the right now.
Who's your other X factor?
Yeah, I have one for Seattle.
Is it rhyme with Eugenio Barres?
No, dude. I gotta go J-Rod. I have to. Because, well, first off, he needs to be healthy, right? He has his low back stuff going on, which makes sense. He's 21. He's never played this much baseball in a season in his entire life, right? And he's been carrying them like a Jansport backpack. He has. He's good. I mean, I know they have a good team, but their offense is a liability. They are. They can pitch. I don't want to run into them in the playoffs. Castillo, Ray, Gilbert, Kirby if they need them. I mean, Marco Gonzalez probably go to the bullpen.
The rotation's real.
Their bullpen since August 1st has been really good.
Yeah.
Just thinking. Yeah, J-Rod's an engine, right? Like he's their power, their speed, hits for average, plays defense. And they just, man, they have that clutch it factor. Like they just have it. It's like you saw it against the Braves, that walk-off against the Braves last week. Like They give up 5 runs. What if 5 runs in the top of the ninth? They go down 7-6, and J Rod's like smiling, running off the field. I was like, oh shit, he's about to go bridge. Pop, homer, Suarez, homer, see ya. Right? Let's go have a beer. Yeah, their offense is a liability, dude. They scored, I think they're ranked 20th in runs scored this year, like 4.1 runs per game. It's not good, but back to the it factor, they like scratch and claw their ways to win. Like they just, you find them in close games every night because they, number one, because they don't score runs, but secondly is like their pitching keeps them in it, and then they just find a way to win. One more X factor for Seattle, the atmosphere at T-Mobile Park.
Oh, it's gonna be nice.
Okay. This is insane. And I'm going to use one of your tweets because I thought this was really good what you had. I'm going to put this in perspective for you guys. So 20-year postseason drought for Seattle fans. Since 2015, you tweeted this out. I believe this was you. Since 2015, 30 out of 30 MLB teams, 26 of them have made it to the playoffs. That's 6 seasons. 26 of 30 teams have made it to the playoffs. The Mariners have it since 2001. That's really, really hard to do. And 2 of those 4 teams are going to get in this year. So it's the Angels and who's the other one?
Tigers.
Yeah. Wait, who?
Tigers.
Yeah, they won't get in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
So, yeah, because I was thinking 15, the Pirates got in 15.
Right.
Yeah. So that's crazy to me. Like 20 years to not go to the postseason is crazy. So I've been at that place when King Felix and there's like King's Court and all that like going on. And that place is nuts. I cannot even start to imagine how this place is going to be for a playoff game. It is going to be unreal.
I've been in Seattle at T-Mobile Park for a Toronto-Seattle series. A lot of people don't realize the geographic location, how close Seattle is to Canada. Vancouver is like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive away. Like if that. Right. Depends on how fast you go on the freeway. It's like half light blue, Toronto Blue Jays blue. The other half is that either dark blue / that green that Seattle Mariners rep, right? Like it's like half and half,
like teal.
If the Blue Jays and Seattle match up in a playoff series and Seattle is able to own that get that home field advantage,
50 shades of blue, baby.
Place would be absolutely nuts. Gino Suarez, by the way, should be mentioned. The fracture to the right index finger. He's been an absolute rock over there at the hot corner for him. Broke the finger there. He's hoping to take some swings this week. So that's a crucial
piece. Did they do surgery or no?
No surgery.
That's good.
From what I understand. If I'm wrong on that, don't quote me. But I don't think he had surgery. How about the National League?
All right. So I have 3 national. I have Braves, Mets, Dodgers. So who do you want to start with?
Let's go with Atlanta.
All right. The X factor is Matt freaking Olson. He's got to figure it out.
He's hit the skids a bit, huh?
Bro, skids big time. Yeah. Dude, all right. So he slumped, then he slumped, and he's still slumping. So we'll just look at the last month. So over a little over that. His last 30 games, he's hitting 170. His last 7 games, he's hitting 107. So it's getting worse, which is not a good sign. He just lost at the plate right now. Like he is taking like heaters down the middle and then chasing. Like he's just in between. But the reason he's going to be key for me is because the Atlanta Braves have showed, even throughout this 30, 40 game skid, they still believe in him because they haven't taken him out of the 4-hole once. All right. So if they're not going to move him out of the 4-hole, that means he is going to continue to come up in big spots with ducks on the pond. They're going to play deep into October. This is a team that has a really good chance, and in my opinion, to get back to the World Series. So if you look at their lineup, Ronald Acuna seems to be, barring a flare-up of his knee again, is back. Like he's playing good baseball. Dansby Swanson is one of the best shortstops in the game, having a phenomenal year. Austin Riley cooled off a bit, but he's still a stud. So those 3 guys, like someone's going to be on base for Matt Olson. And it's probably going to be a big spot in the game because it's the postseason. It doesn't matter if it's the 4th inning. If that's your chance to score, you got to cash in. So that's my guy. I mean, I think now's the time for him to figure it out. Like, do whatever you got to do because you got 2 weeks and it's go time.
I went with Kenley Jansen. He has a 3.80 ERA in the second half. I love the Braves bullpen. I love their lineup. I love their starting rotation. I don't completely trust that ninth inning. It concerns me just a little bit. We've seen Dave Roberts not exactly have utmost faith in Kenley Jansen in the playoffs in years prior. We've seen him have trust in Kenley early on in his career, but recently it's been a real coin flip. That concerns me.
I thought the Braves picked up someone else in the back end of the bullpen. You're right.
They picked up Jesse Chavez.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Jake Odorizzi, Raisel Iglesias.
Yes. So there's that.
He hasn't been closing for him, though.
Right, he's been more eighth inning, right? 7th, 8th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I like that.
He's been eighth inning.
Gonna go Dodgers or Mets next?
Let's go Dodgers here because I have a similar answer. Yeah.
All right. Quality starts. Obviously, their depth is hurt a little bit right now because Buehler obviously is second Tommy John. He's out. You don't know what you're going to get from Tony Gonsolin when he comes back. You don't even know if he's going to be they haven't even committed to saying he's going to be in the rotation. So, and it's a forearm strain. So that's a little worrisome. A lot of the times that ends up being Tommy John at some point if you push it too far. And if it's a forearm, he might not have his velo. He doesn't have that velo. His breaking stuff might not be as good. I just don't know what to expect. So Clayton Kershaw is probably going to be their game 2 starter, I would think. Julio Urias is going to be in the number 1 spot. And then Tyler Anderson is going to be their number 3. He's had a great year, but he's only started 1 playoff game in his entire career. I think he's pitched in 2. One of them was out of the bullpen. He started another one. He's with Colorado. Dustin May is there. Great arm, but he only has 26 innings under his belt because he's been rehabbing from Tommy John. They're not going to push him too far. And I think he's going to be, if you want to say X factor out of the bullpen, I think he comes in like 6th, 7th inning in high leverage situations and faces a lineup once or, just one time through or maybe an inning. And that's a nasty 100-mile-per-hour sinker slider combination that you don't want to see come out of the bullpen. So if Clayton Kershaw is able to give you 6 innings, I feel like it takes a lot of pressure off of a bullpen that, Kimbrel's been shaky at best. Blake Trinan's been hurt. Gratterall's been hurt. I just don't understand how there's so many question marks around a team that might win 110 games because their offense is that good. They're going to score runs. Like, they're going to be fine. But Clayton Kershaw pitching well in the postseason at 2 spot saves them.
Yeah, Kershaw's your X factor. I like the Dustin May point because mine was Craig Kimbrel because I don't really trust him in the back end of that bullpen. His ERA on the season is now up to 4.05, has a handful of blown saves. Not awful, but he normally comes in with a 3-run lead oftentimes.
He's a guy that lives and dies with velo, and he's getting older, right?
Right. And so I think Dustin May, do they put him in that closer role? Last year they put Julio Urias, 2 years ago, 2020. It was Julio Urias who closed it out for them for the final out.
Dave Roberts was my bench coach when I was in San Diego. He is very good at knowing who has the hot hand and listening to his players. A good player. Now, he's analytically driven. He listens to the front office. I get that. I'm not going to say a puppet because he ain't a puppet at all. Like, he thinks for himself, but he understands the analytics. But he is a player's manager. He knows who's hot. He knows who's feeling it. And that's why Urias got put in those situations because he felt good. He was throwing the best ball. And Doc just he trusts his guys. So if Dustin May's that dude and he's feeling it, then he's going to go with it. He'll trust him. So I'm curious to see what happens because Kimbrel feels like a flip of the coin right now.
What about the Mets? I still believe they're the best team in the National League over the Dodgers just because of that tandem in the starting rotation. Who's their X factor, though?
Call me chalk, but Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
We haven't – I mean, they have a team full of guys who can and will be game changers for them, right? They have a ton of those guys. But let's talk about having the best pitcher on the planet as your game 1 starter. They haven't committed to game 1 or 2 for him, but I would think game 1 because then wouldn't you want him in like a game 5? I feel like that would make sense to have the best pitcher in the universe pitch twice in a 5-game series.
Over Max?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's say Max, let's say they have a big lead in game 2 and Max only has to go like 6 innings and then he could come in relief in game if he needed to. I would trust Max. So here's the thing too. When you look at the postseason, I don't want to mess with deGrom because of his injury history. I don't want to mess with his routine. So like, I don't want to have to bring deGrom out of the bullpen and then him get hurt. I mean, I have him for the rest of the playoffs. Max Scherzer, you can throw him in a blender and he'll be fine. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I want to keep deGrom on like a schedule. I don't want to be like, you know what, you're not starting, but we're going to throw you out in the bullpen in Game 5. You're on 2 or 3 days rest, but I'd rather do that with Scherzer, in my opinion. But what was I saying? Oh, we haven't seen deGrom in the postseason since 2015. Best pitcher in the world. We have not seen him in 6 seasons in the postseason.
Yeah, Trout's not.
He went 3-1 with a 3-1 with a 2.8 ERA. I think he had 29 strikeouts in 25 innings in the postseason in 2015. They got beat 5 games by the Royals that year. But it's like we've seen Mike Trout once in the playoffs, right? We've seen deGrom only once in the playoffs.
Trout was 2014, I think, last time they made it, right? Yeah, 2014. They won the American League West.
Yep, that's it. So it's time. Like, I want to see the best players in the world under the brightest lights on the biggest stage. Mm-hmm. And deGrom is one of those guys. So I'm fired up. I think he like kicks it up a notch too. Like, we've seen him be nasty, but I feel like he turns it on even more.
Yeah, for me, X factor is difference maker, and I have so much faith in Edwin Diaz in the back end of that bullpen and those 2 starters.
Dude, so give me Timmy Trumpet in the postseason, inject it into my face. My face.
Here's my only question mark with this team is the bridge. If Max or deGrom go 100 pitches, 100 plus pitches through 7, they need an 8th inning guy. A Seth Lugo.
See, I ain't even worried about if they go 7 innings. I'm worried about if they go 5 or 6.
Sure. So they need a bridge guy. And right now I'm looking at the stats. So in the 8th inning this year, the New York Mets have accrued a 3.81 ERA in the 8th inning this year. That is 16th in baseball. So very mediocre, right? Seth Lugo has a 5.21 ERA in the 7th inning, a 2.84 ERA in the 8th inning. So he's better in the 8th for whatever reason. Seth Lugo, in my opinion, is that X factor for the Mets because he is the bridge from starter.
Pitch him in the 7th
to Diaz.
I mean, learn. Look at the numbers. Like, don't throw him in the 7th inning.
And Trevor May hasn't had the same stuff this year as he has had in years past. So that middle of the road for the bullpen, that's where I think the Braves had the advantage because their bullpen's so stacked. The Mets are better in the front and back, but that middle, they need that glue, right?
The Braves have between the starters and the bullpen, they have the best pitching in all of baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they have a better staff than both the Dodgers and the Mets.
Did you have an X factor for the Padres by chance? I'm just curious.
AJ Preller.
A little late for that.
I know. No, not really.
Juan Soto. The Padres are 5-2 when he has an extra base hit.
I was gonna say, like, why not Juan Soto? Because he hasn't done shit since he went over there.
But just let me say that one more time. They're 5-2 when he has an extra base hit. That means he's only had 7 games with an extra base hit since they acquired him. Man, like I want to see what this team is when Soto's great.
Isn't it weird? Like, what's going on?
I've been on a couple of different radio shows. They asked me the same question. I tried and look at his numbers. The only thing that I can come up with Soto's struggles is he's not hitting off-speed pitches this year. Against the fastball and cutter, his average against the cutter is over 300. Against the fastball, it's up over 280. Against the changeup, it's near the Mendoza line. Against the curveball, he's hitting 160. Against the slider, he's hitting around the Mendoza line. It's like 206. So he's not hitting off-speed pitches. In years past, it's not like he's been this fantastic off-speed hitter, but he's hit 250, 260 against a breaking ball. He's earned himself more fastballs. This year, he's not hitting the off-speed pitch whatsoever.
I think all the contract stuff's really kind of got to him a little bit.
Maybe.
I mean, he's human, believe it or not. It's like, dang, I got to ball out because I want to, sign this massive, I don't know.
Do you think San Diego keeps him?
No.
You don't think they can afford him? You don't think they will choose to? A lot to give up.
Well, he's still got 2 more years?
He has 2 more years. But even so, I mean, they gave up Abrams, Hassel.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that yet, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't put enough thought in. this was not on our list here, but I want to toss this in here as we come up on the buzzer here. What do you think of the new rules for 2023? The enlarged bases, the pitch clock. There was one more.
The shift.
Thank you. Elimination of the shift. Any just quick thoughts on the new rules?
Quick thoughts. Bases. Everyone's up in arms about it, but like, you're gonna forget about it. So, the distance. What was it between? The only distance that shortened was like between second base, like from first to home to first and home to third. The front of the base is still 90 feet. So they just push the hole where the bag goes in, just back a couple inches. So it's not like you're getting to first base faster, but second base is like a couple inches closer. So it's supposed to promote base stealing and this and that, whatever. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. I think there is a safety aspect to it, which they've pushed. This is going to be something that's like forgotten. We're gonna be like, oh yeah, remember when there were smaller bases? Like they're going to play a week into spring training and people are just going to forget about it. Like it's not going to be important. So if you're looking at the safety side of it, I've played first base and been stepped on a few times. Like it sucks. Like you see guys like Jason Kendall and guys like, bad injuries happen at first base. So you got Manny Machado like trying to stomp on people and shit. So I had to take a shot at the Padres. Sorry. He did. Anyways.
The changed man.
He was a Dodger when he did that. So
he's a changed man.
Yeah, he really is, but that's for another time. I'm thinking the shift. I consider myself a baseball purist, but I'm coming around to this. I'm fine with it. I think hard hits are going to be rewarded. I think we're going to have more web gems because guys are going to be playing more of a natural position instead of analytics telling you he's going to hit it right here on this pitch and right here on this pitch, and you're just standing there waiting for the ball to come to you. That's boring. I want to see guys diving, jump throws, cool double plays, more baseball plays.
Do you think viewership goes up?
I think it stays the same.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking viewership, I think the pitch clock could help that a little bit. Because pace of play. I mean, you saw it in AAA. Games were averaging like 220, 230.
237.
Yeah, 237. But that means your quicker games are like 215, right? Like we had some of those in the big leagues this year. I had some games when I was with the Sox that were like 220 something, 218, a couple of them, like really quick games because the offense sucked. But yeah, I think there's going to be an adjustment for the older generation of pitchers. The younger guys, a lot of these guys have already dealt with it a little bit. And the older you get, the slower you work most of the time, unless you're Rich Hill. You're 42 and you're throwing a ball every 15 seconds. But it's going to be harder for the older guys to adjust. But I think overall, and I don't say this much because there's a lot of people at the league office I don't like and how they've done some things over the years. But there's a lot of people there actually have done a lot of good things for the game. And I think baseball is one of the last games to change, to be proactive and changing. They change a lot for the fans to mold it to how the fans want. But this is big, like a pitch clock in the big leagues saying you cannot shift. Like those are really big rule changes. And I think hats off to the league for doing what they think is best for growing the game.
Playoff pushes on. So will we, the Wake and Rake podcast, powered by Swing Juice. We will not be having an episode before the playoffs breaking down how you beat Max Scherzer, because clearly Middlebrooks has no clue how.
Oh my God, dude. Flip a coin and whatever it lands on, guess the opposite.
Until next time, party people, swingjuice.com, official merchandise provider for the Wake and Rake podcast. Peace out.